podcast that tries to explain fictional worlds using science. I'm Simon.
And I'm Jeff.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I recently was able to reattach. I'm now so much louder. Oh, my God. Haven't even started. It's just like, in my brain, it just sets it off. It's like, okay, now it's time to start shouting, Simon. And I can't stop. This is my volume. All the time.
Good.
Am I too loud?
What? No, they're used to it.
Good. Yeah, we did get some feedback the other day.
Did we?
Yeah.
Was I there for it?
Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
Oh, yeah, it was when we were playing Catan. And Phil was like, I listened to one episode of your podcast, and Simon, you were shouting the whole time.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, yeah, that was the Full Metal Alchemist episode. That was a rough night for Simon. Not like the Cryptid episode, which was a very rough night for Jeff.
Oh, yeah. That was it. The night was fine. The next day at work was real rough.
Oh, yeah, that's back when we recorded on like Mondays or something like that. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the middle of a work week, and I had a lot of sake and then a lot of absinthe.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's a lesson for all you youngster podcasters out there who haven't made it big time like the J-Man and Skinny. Those are our rap names,
Close.
by the way.
Yeah, I'm just using the wrong letter for my name.
Maybe you're Skinny. I don't know.
It's part of the obfuscation.
I feel like the J-Man could be either of us.
Can't track me.
I don't know. I actually feel like the J-Man and Skinny would be like a good name for me and just me, and you would have your own name.
And just you.
I forgot where I was going with this anecdote. Don't, like, if you're going to drink while podcasting, and this is something that actually took us a few episodes to learn, don't drink that much, and don't drink beforehand. That's really, you got to...
Just drink constantly through the whole thing.
Hydrate. You got to hydrate. And if it just so happens that the only thing you have to hydrate is with beer or sake or whiskey or absinthe, maybe plan better.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. You don't want those beautiful vocal cords to get all torn up and all raspy. So hydrate, everybody.
Yep. Make sure you get all those good wet mouth noises the entire time you podcast.
We actually don't get that many good wet mouth noises.
Yeah, I think we're usually pretty good about it.
There is
I am especially proud of you for leaning into the bit when I asked if you had an intro and you said no. And it will just vamp for 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, like...
'Cause we haven't introduced this episode yet.
We haven't. Sorry, guys. And we'll try and cut down on the chit-chat. Get straight to the point.
I do not believe you.
Maybe not. So this episode, Jeff... I've been thinking.
Yep.
I have anxiety, as you know, and everyone in my family has anxiety, as you know. It's very clear if you've met any of us. And so the thing that we have all gravitated to pretty heavily has been, especially in these tumultuous times, has been Animal Crossing. And
I hear that's a decent solution.
It's such a good, because it feels like you're in control of your life again.
As long as you get the feeling of control, that's the important part.
It's like... Nothing gives you more illusion of control than Animal Crossing. I was talking to my sister today. Apparently, she has 2 million bells just sitting in her bank account, and she's still like, you know what? I don't think I can afford this. I think I have to. I have to save up more. And that's the great thing about Animal Crossing is that I have that same fear. I have to accumulate wealth so that I know I always have 12 months to live on.
Right. Just in case you have to buy more house or something.
Exactly.
I don't know.
In Animal Crossing,
Tom Nook's a crook, clearly.
It's a fictional world where it's very easy to make money and save money because there's really no bills unless you want to buy. So you could save and spend money as freely as you want, and it's so liberating to just not have that anxiety in your head all the time.
Because instead of spending any of that money, you're hoarding it like a dragon.
Exactly. That's what I do.
I feel like there's a disconnect somewhere.
There isn't. You're just wrong, is what it is. It's
I guess. I can't really refute it.
It's incredibly refreshing and freeing to be able to control every aspect of your life, except for maybe when it rains. Or at least maybe not control it, but you can expect consistent things to happen. I know in June certain things are going to happen. I just enjoy it. It's I never understood how freeing it was to play Animal Crossing until like I was this anxious all the time, and now I'm like, it's what I do to unwind, to dewind.
I don't know if that's the correct word.
Well, I think you're wrong. I think dewind is the correct word. Actually, isn't dewind a word? Is it unwind?
It is definitely unwind.
But I feel like, okay, we don't need to get into this. Anyway, it's Animal Crossing this episode. Sorry, guys. What I said about not drinking before an episode, I lied about. I do it every time.
You just gotta stay committed. You have a system.
It works.
It hasn't failed you yet.
I create creative masterpieces every other week.
And I'm here to help.
So Jeff,
Simon,
I know everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna do Animal Crossing? What are you gonna contact? Like, you're gonna like, how does that work? Simon, you're so stupid. Simon, this is a bad idea. Simon,
I don't
my
know
name
if that's
is Jeff."
everybody or if that was just me.
Yeah, so Jeff didn't believe me that this was a good idea, but we're gonna start off, and I think the first thing to start off is this game actually makes scientific claims, which I think is refreshing.
What, as opposed to us just groping blindly looking for weird things that happen?
Okay, it's not groping blindly. It's
just looking at pictures of Grimace.
It's just looking at pictures of Grimace, yeah. It's going on a fan wiki and being like, what weird things can we find from this piece of trivia thing?
Right.
This creative endeavor. What way can we make fun of the people who decided to make this? And I want to apologize if we've insulted anyone with any of our remarks. But I'm going to start off with, in this game,
for the most part, yeah,
they do make claims about evolution. Okay.
That's.
I don't know if
fine.
I don't know if you've seen
hard sci-fi was real easy. I'm sure we can debunk or figure out how their evolution works.
Jeff, debunk is the wrong word for this podcast.
It is the wrong word, but I have been listening to a lot of Oh No, Ross and Carrie lately.
Yeah, we don't rebunk. We actually no, that might be a better word for it. No, rebunk would be like I don't know. Would it be rebunk? I don't know. I think explore.
Or do we like side bunk?
Yeah, explore is really what I like to think that we do. We
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
We move in the space. We play with the game, okay?
Right.
So their evolution, they have very clear paths.
That
start from because they have a museum, okay? Let me back up. Animal Crossing, for anyone who doesn't know, is a game
like me.
Like Jeff. It's a game. It's actually had a few iterations. Its first iteration was for the N64 back in the 90s. Originally released in Japan, and it's a game where you are a human villager who, for some happenstance, either maybe you lose your job, maybe you just end up deciding to move, maybe you I don't actually know what the impetus for the GameCube one was. It was something weird.
I don't know.
But like for some happenstance, you move to a new town, and when you move to this new town, you meet a guy named Tom Nook, and Tom Nook sells you a house, but that's
a nice, fun thing for him to do.
Well, there's a pretty cool video that was done by Polygon on if Tom Nook is like a capitalist pig or if he's actually like an angel investor. It's very good. But he sells you a house.
I think that's kind of the same thing, though, isn't it?
It kind of is, yeah. But like if he's like actually actively destroying the community, or if he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But so Tom Nook sells you this house. You don't have any money because you don't have any. It's the beginning of the game, and so he just
you just walked into this new town hoping for the best,
pretty much, and so you then have to pay off your debt, and then once you pay off your debt, he goes, "Hey, you want a better house?" And you have to pay off that debt, and so it's just subsequent loans to get better houses, but to get those get money to pay off the house, you do things for your neighbors and you build your community.
Okay.
And so essentially in the newest game, New Horizons, you show up on an island that is uninhabited with two other people. They elect you mayor. You show up on an island with two other people, with Tom Nook and his two sons, as well as Tom Nook and his two sons. And you build a community from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
In doing so, you discover a museum. In the museum, you can donate fossils and natural specimens that you catch. in this game, New
Okay, yeah.
Horizons, because you can catch because like the museum, and I don't know if this is in other games, but the museum is pretty in depth, and they go through all the evolution of life in this world. And the thing is that all of your neighbors are the anthropomorphic animals. However, they all have divergent evolutionary paths, which means things like being bipedal, having two arms, having forward-facing eyes, are all convergent evolution in this game. So I want to know what evolutionary path, like what scientific explanation do we have for like anthropomorphic shapes, humanoid shapes to be convergent? That's kind of the first thing. It was a very confusing phrasing, but I think Jeff has it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Why has sapiens evolved so many times through so many different species?
Exactly. So here's the thing we're thinking of, like, what is the benefit that bipedalism, that's the word, right?
I don't know if it is. Let's just go with
Bipededness?
being bipedal.
Being bipedal. I don't know. I kind of like bipedalness, but being bipedal has it has pretty
Yeah,
clear.
it frees up a set of limbs.
It does
Generally.
Yeah. So there's a couple of scientific explanations for human bipedalism. I'm going to use bipedalism. It just makes sense to me.
Okay, we'll lean into it.
It frees up your hands. That's the motherly route. It's in terms of holding children and feeding them while you're moving. Humans are one of the few primates that can actually do that very, very effectively. But it also gives you the chance of having arms, which is nice, I think.
Having arms is pretty great.
Having arms is...
I've been enjoying mine.
Yeah, and I mean, like, not to disparage anyone who doesn't have arms, but it does make, I gotta say, it does make doing a lot of things very easy. Like scratching my back, scratching other people's backs.
And just existing in this world developed for people with arms.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we shouldn't be developing.
Yeah, now that we've got real blue talking about our arm privileges.
Yeah, like we don't. Yeah, sorry guys. I will say, so that's one thing. It's also, we have the ability to run long distances very efficiently. Not particularly fast though. It is energetic though, because you have to supply hips.
Right.
That can support a human body and balance a human body more effectively than it would, say, a dog or a cat or a hippopotamus or a rhinoceros or a, I don't know,
now, is
Marmaduke.
It like a bunch of different species evolving in the same direction, or is it like people evolved and then replaced parts of themselves?
And then it was like a branching. So here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. They track the evolution in this game, in this museum.
Oh, yep. Nope, you did say that part.
And it looks like animals, like cats, follow the same evolution up to the point where they are cats, and then suddenly they are humanoid cats. And I guess maybe in Animal Crossing terms, I'm using humanoid as a very general term here. I do not mean to be saying that in Animal Crossing they would be called humanoid. They'd probably be called something else. But sapient-like is probably the best.
Yeah. Yeah, like the idea being like bilateral symmetry, forward-facing eyes.
Yeah, Jeff knows what's up.
Yeah, I know some buzzwords that'll get me through.
I mean, to be honest, your degree is in bug science.
Yeah, no, it is. Yep.
So there's got to be something in Animal Crossing that
has led to
that would promote
the selection multiple times over.
Yeah, somewhere on the planet at least. I mean, I think we can assume that all Animal Crossings take place on the same planet. That
would make sense, right? Because they all speak like the same Animalese, I believe, is the language.
There's a couple of different...
Unless it's a Japanese version of the game or an English version of the game. I think they're different.
They are, but there's a whole bunch of different names for their languages, and they have different languages in every game. Animalese, I believe, is the most general term. It's the first one. Okay, so what if we look at it the opposite direction? Fish and bugs do not have the same bipedalness.
They're just normal fish and bugs like we see them today.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem to be animals as like foxes and things like that.
So there aren't like squirrels running around.
Yeah.
They're just squirrel people.
There's just squirrel people, exactly. But there are frogs, but they're considered fish. And there's turtles, they also are considered fish.
Okay, so is it
what?
Like just mammals?
No.
Or are there non-mammal people?
There's frog people that you can give frogs to, that you've captured.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
It is. The response is very funny. Look it up, listener. Or just, in the game, give a frog neighbor a frog. Everyone enjoys a pet that's just a stupider version of themselves that you've captured and kept as a slave. Yeah, but I have the idea. So it seems like things that can fly and things that can swim are fine. Like they are unadjusted. It's really ground animals that travel across the ground that have changed, and exclusively across the ground.
Well, no, there's like bird people too, aren't there?
There are, and they can't fly. Okay, so the vertebrates that exist are only in the water, right?
Okay.
In the invertebrates, we can assume they're on a different evolutionary path. So what is it about? So what has to happen to the air and the earth that everyone needs to be hominid? Or do we think maybe this earth has existed for so long, much like
or maybe it's...
Well, I was thinking maybe it's like selective breeding, like how humans have taken wolves and made them more sociable. Maybe,
so it's just like one species developed sapience and then like uplifted other vertebrate species?
Yeah, I don't know if I would use the word uplifted, but selectively bred them so that they were all similar in a certain way, like similar enough that they're like sociable, but not so similar that they are like uncanny valley.
Okay. That's
what I think happened.
All right. So
and then they killed off the rest of the species. Because
well, I mean, it could just be like it happened. We don't know how old the world is for Animal Crossing. Forgot the name. So like it could just be a very old world where there was enough time for...
But you wouldn't think that... You would think that as time went on, you would increase in diversity rather than decrease.
Actually, there are aliens tangentially related to in the game, right?
I don't know.
I'm fairly certain there is.
Are there animals? Wait a second.
Every now and then, at 3 a.m. or something, you can watch TV in your house in Animal Crossing, and there will be like alien broadcast.
Oh. Well, there you go. Aliens. That's the answer, guys.
Yeah. Got it.
Wait, do we think that
they guided the evolution of all of the terrestrial vertebrates?
But the issue is, how did they get rid of the other terrestrial vertebrates? Like, how did they get rid of the non-sapient ones? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's still like an older world where they generally all have gotten to that point, or like outcompeted.
But you don't.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, they had to have killed all the other ground vertebrates and birded.
Right. Well,
vertebrates.
Where do you think they get meat from? They can't get it from the other sapient species.
I love it. So like this is like
becomes murder at
population growth, because you don't only have the population growth of like humanity, which has been very rapid with technological growth, but you have the population growth of all the other sapient species. So they grow too fast and they just ate the world to death. Oh, right. I love it. That's a really smart idea. Good job, Jeff.
Hey, I got one.
Okay.
I'll put it on the board.
Okay. Talking about food. Now that we figured out what's going on here, kind of a dark world. I wish we could stop making our world so dark. And I keep on thinking to myself, like, science doesn't destroy.
I don't yes, a lot of the times they get very dark or powered by farts. I think this one isn't necessarily that dark.
It's pretty dark. I mean, you're talking about like in a world that population grew too fast and they literally ate themselves to being the only things on the planet. I think that's dark. Maybe I'm just...
It's maybe not necessarily a bright future. I don't necessarily know how dark it is.
You think it's like a beige... It's a beigeness. It's like a Twilight. It's neither dark nor bright.
Yeah, they... Well, I was going to make a joke that made it really dark. I take it back. No, it's pretty dark.
No, we got it. Make it dark. Come on, you got it.
It's our wheelhouse.
It is our wheelhouse. We do make dark worlds, and I feel like science is either very funny,
It's the natural conclusion of science.
yeah, or it's incredibly dark and depressing.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about eating,
Yep.
did you know that when you eat a fruit, you can
Right.
rip an entire tree out of the ground?
Real strong people or real weak trees?
However, you can't do this without eating a single fruit. Like if you don't eat fruit. So we're saying that like, oh, well, actually, no, this makes a lot of sense. Good job, Jeff. You solved another one.
Does it? I don't know what we're discussing yet.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Like in Animal Crossing, you
Okay.
cannot move trees. You can chop them
Okay.
down and then you can rip up their stumps, but you cannot move
Okay.
whole trees.
Okay.
Once you eat one fruit, and you can eat up to 10 fruit,
What happens
you
after
can then
10
take a
fruit?
shovel, you stick it in the ground, and you rip a tree out of the ground, and then you can replant it someplace else.
Okay.
And so
Is this like one per fruit?
yeah, one per fruit. So I'm wondering, like, what's going on metabolically in this new sapient creature, or at least if this is a human at this point. So I guess we could just assume it's maybe not widespread, that enables fruit to give you either super strength, or maybe you always have the strength and it's just the calories you need.
Or yeah, that's what I was thinking. They're just like super high calorie.
Because
And you know that if you try to move a tree without eating a fruit, you will die.
you will. Whoa! So you're saying that there's like whoa. So you're saying that humans in Animal Crossing have like a constantly burning metabolism. So a metabolism that is so high burning and they can like access it so freely that can kill themselves if they exert themselves too much.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Okay. So then I like this idea because it also explains another issue that we have of Animal Crossing, which is that you don't starve. You don't seem to you don't need to eat fruit. You only need to eat fruit when you rip trees out of the ground or break rocks.
Okay, so why do you not have to eat?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have such control over your metabolism,
Oh,
maybe you
I
can
see, I
lower
see.
it to the point where you can just
Hey,
survive
what?
off
That's 3 for Jeff now, isn't it?
That's trace for Jeff, man.
Hey,
Jeff is on a roll this episode.
think I'm up to 4 total now.
No, I think you also solved. I know you don't remember it, but I believe you did solve the chupacabra.
Maybe.
I just remember that the blood meal was like you were not okay with it. You were also not okay with me saying that.
So just belligerent about it?
You were not okay with me
That
saying
sounds like drunk Jeff.
that the chupacabra couldn't breathe, and instead it needed to steal the oxygen in the form of blood from other creatures. You decided that was a bad idea.
I still agree with drunk Jeff.
Okay, so now we got fruit power. So talking about fruit. See, this is what I'm saying. Like when I write down the episode topics, flows so much better.
You got some segues in there.
I got some
It's
segues
great.
in there. There's a couple of things with fruit. One thing is that for some reason these fruit trees only grow exactly 3 fruit, except for coconuts, which do grow 2 fruit. So what is it? And there's only like 5 fruit available, period. So what is it that's created this limited supply of fruit, and that fruit can only be produced in quantities of 3 or 2?
I want to... Like, my natural inclination is to go to we ate all of the other fruit to death
Yeah.
until we figured out farming. But I want to avoid that since we've already done it.
Here's my idea.
Okay.
I think that this is a very old world. This is a very smart civilization. I think it's all monocultures. So like it's like bananas in our real world where we found the best banana to grow and we grew it. It was called the Big Mike, and then don't laugh. It was
Blight wiped out
Big-
all of the other strain that we preferred, and we're stuck with this.
well no Big Mike is the one that was wiped out. We have a different
Okay.
strain. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember their names.
That tastes worse and is just bad. So I'm thinking maybe this is like an extreme, like they needed food. So they were like, okay, we got to find the things that grow the best. So they found apples, they found oranges, they found pears, they found cherries, they found coconuts, and they were like, we got maybe they found other things like peaches, which they also found because those are also on my island. And
As of yesterday, by the sounds of our Catan game yesterday.
no, pears. Pears are what I'm missing. And
Oh, okay.
but I have a shoe in for pears, man. I got a couple actually that I just haven't gotten on. I haven't gotten on my pear game, guys. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so like maybe they like grew. They grew.
Do you remember you had a list?
I did. So maybe they also grew other ones. Like they also grew like olives and blackberries and the other kinds of fruits that exist in the world, like avocados and mangoes. I had yeah. Anyway, and maybe
You can just keep listing fruit. We have plenty of time.
yeah. Thank you.
I have 44 more hours worth of recording space on my hard drive.
Bananas. I have 76 left on my hard drive, apparently. It makes me question which hard drive I'm using to record this on.
Right?
Yeah, bananas. What other fruits? Kumquats.
There are plenty, and they're all
durians.
inferior to the 6 or however many
But that's my
that
idea.
exist in Animal Crossing.
I just realized I'm going to have to edit out 10 minutes of me
All
talking.
of the fruit that you listed? Yeah.
10 minutes of me talking about fruit. but maybe like the monocultures that we created, okay? They all got wiped out except for like we realized that we had 6 monocultures left. And so these 6 are the 6 that we protect. And
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
because monocultures are like they're the fastest way of growing food. So maybe once we made it all the way through,
And the fastest way to get them all to die at the same time.
that's very true. So maybe, but that's what I'm saying. Like this feeds into our idea that we're like, okay, they're like rapidly growing population. They've made it through a lot of their meat, and they're like, well, we're worried about what's the most efficient way to get food. Well, it's to get it from plants, and monocultures because you can grow them rapidly. You can standardize their growth, and you can ship them places because you can control their circumstances and their genetics. Once you do that, they have widespread famine because suddenly they have, incredible diseases tearing through their banana populations, their kumquat populations, their durian populations, their blackberry, raspberry populations.
It's another 10 minutes of audio you gotta cut out as you talk about fruits.
And all they're left with is these 6 fruits that they were able to hold on to, like a Svalbard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, they only managed to get 6 seeds into the permafrost before the worldwide blight took all of the plants.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why they've moved to New Horizons, where you own an entire island, because
the blight hasn't reached it yet.
well, not only that, but you can isolate the blight on an island. So, like, if an island appears on one blight, if a blight appears on one island,
Yep, that sounds right.
if a blight appears on one island, it won't travel because, bacteria, viruses, they don't really travel across water as well as they do across land, generally. And that's why travel between islands is so restrictive in New Horizons, because you can really only go one person to one island. Maybe like a couple people to a single island, but it's still only one person.
You got to get checked out and quarantined and tested.
Yeah, and that's why it takes so long. You have to wait to connect to the internet. You have to like have that little stupid passing thing where the little dodo flaps his wings. Yeah, that's another thing. Oh no, wait, no, that is answered. We answered that. Cool. I was gonna say because the dodos kind of look like regular dodos. They're not really anthropomorphized.
Okay.
But I think that they're just creatures that were anthropomorphized as much as they could be. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's an issue. However, actually, we may have answered this too. The fruit doesn't rot. So like you can take an orange, and I recently realized this, and this was the impetus for this episode. I forgot.
You left an orange on your counter for too long?
Pretty much. I left an orange in my orange grove that I have, that I named the Orange Grove because I'm an SU Grav, go Orangeman. And we have an orange grove. It's part of our campus. It holds no oranges because it's the middle of upstate New York where oranges
Of upstate New York, yeah.
The orange had been left out for 3 days in the elements. It had rained. It didn't rot. It was still an orange. It wasn't a rotten orange.
Is this an actual orange or an orange in your game?
This is an orange in the game. Sorry. I'm
Okay.
deep in the fiction, Jeff. Don't break me out.
No, continue.
So here's the question. Or here's the thing. Do we think that these monocultures also have like preservatives in them that keep the fruit from rotting, from over ripening?
I guess they would have to, right? Like, yeah. Especially if there's only a few different kinds left.
You think that we have we have min-maxed these 6 fruit.
The fruit. And what were those fruit again?
Okay, so those fruit.
I want another fruit
They are
list.
peaches. They are apples. They are coconuts. They are cherries, and they are oranges. I think that's 6 fruit.
Perfect.
I think I counted one of my fingers twice. Because there you go.
We're proud of you, Simon.
Thank you. I'm an engineer.
Good. I'm glad not many things that I use every day are made by engineers.
Oh, yeah. Don't. Oh, so here's the thing about engineers. Really?
Don't trust bridges. Got
that's
it.
not true. Engineers, much like doctors and much like lawyers, are really good at one thing and very bad at everything else. They are very good at engineering.
None of those things are counting.
Yeah, like mathematics, very good if the math is calculus or algebra. If it's basic arithmetic, no engineer can do it. It's true.
That's what spreadsheets are for.
It's what calculators are for, guys. Come on. It's what phones. Why do you think we invented phones? It's so that we didn't have to do math anymore.
It's so we could tell all those math teachers how wrong they were.
Exactly. A slide ruler is literally just like an engineer being like, hey, I don't want to do math anymore. I'm just going to invent a very complex device that does math for me.
Yep.
Anyway, we got fruit not rotting. We got evolution down.
Right.
We got fruit trees growing only 3 fruits. We got fruit power. How about this? Talking about the plants in this game, so now we kind of have like a handle on them. Flowers in this game, so non-edible plants.
Okay, that was literally going to be my first question.
Are they edible?
Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't use it for spices. I assume sake is in this game, because if it wasn't, how would you get the flavor of flowers? As everyone knows, sake tastes like flowers. That's what makes it good. The plants in this have very strict genetic rules.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say strict genetic rules, where certain colors breed other colors. However, none of the bred colors appear natively on an island. Does that make sense?
Yes. So, no.
Okay.
So to breed them in game, you're just putting them next to each other,
Yes.
or are you like
Yes, you have to put
cross-pollinating them
No,
yourselves?
you need to put them next to each other, and then you need to water them, and they will breed.
Right.
And that's it. But those don't exist natively. That doesn't happen natively on an island. You have to do that. You will not be given, say, a red or an
So
orange
just
ball.
like plants or flowers of different colors just don't grow next to each other?
Not natively, no.
Okay, I assume they're filling like the same ecological sort of role, and like one isn't just growing in forests and another isn't just growing on the beach.
Correct. No flowers grow on the beach, but each island has...
Because it's sand.
Because it's sand. Actually, as someone who is just recently watching someone unplant wheat that was grown in sand, you can pretty much grow anything you want in sand. You just have to grow it in a very particular way.
Okay. The biggest thing that we're going to have to tackle is why they don't like end up growing next to each other.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Like why? First of all, why are the genetics so strict in rules, and why don't the genetics appear naturally?
Okay. Well, I think the why they're so strict in rules is just, perfectly dominant and recessive genes.
Okay.
Why they don't occur naturally, maybe like an established plant will outcompete anything newly just kind of like happen to be planted there. But if you're coming around and watering them every day to like make sure that they're nurtured and can actually grow, maybe that's why.
You've lost me. Wait, so you're saying that the only way plants can grow is if they are watered?
Not the only way that they can grow is if they're watered, but if one seed happens to be an area and germinates, it will just outcompete any new plant or any new seeds that germinate a day or two later, just because it has a head start or something.
Okay. So we're thinking like this is like kind of like strawberry plants where they have like interconnected root systems and stuff, where they like grow outwards from the roots. Yeah. I think those are strawberries that do that. I might be wrong about that.
I think so.
I don't know. I haven't looked at.
There's a couple kinds of
plants
plants
that do that. Yeah. Okay. I like that idea. And so only when you you dig up the root system, you plant new seeds, and you start a new cohabitating root system.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. And I kind of like that idea. Like maybe there's also, if we have this extensive root system, maybe they're not pollinated. Maybe it's more of a meeting of roots that causes the genetic shift.
And I can see that.
And that's why you're getting such consistent results.
I guess the question would then be, why bother flowering in the first place?
Because humans enjoy it's the same kind of like why you selectively breed to get the faces you do, like to get the sapient creatures.
Okay.
The humans of this world want like flowers that bloom.
Mm-hmm.
But pollen.
And by humans of this world, you mean any of these sapient creatures?
Sapient creatures in this world like flowers that bloom. But flowers that have pollen, flowers that attract insects, they're issues. So they selectively breed things that are pretty to look at, but that don't need the reproductive aspect of that pretty to look at thing.
Okay, sure. That can work.
That can work. I will allow it. Me, Jeff.
It is decided.
So there's another thing that's we haven't really touched on that I know Ion and Claire both brought up. Both listeners of the wow, I am having a tough time right now. They're both listeners of the show.
Need more alcohol.
I'm just so bad at saying the sh sound.
Words.
My mouth is very dry. Is the issue, actually.
Gotta get them good, moist mouth sounds.
Well, hold on a second.
Don't get close to the mic. The listeners will not appreciate it.
No. So they brought up the idea that fish and bugs in this game, when you capture them, you don't kill them, you don't eat them.
Okay.
But they still survive in your pockets. So there is, I guess this is combination.
That's fine. You just keep water in your pockets for the fishes. You just mash their gills in there and you're fine.
So here's the thing. that is explained, okay? You do, I just realized they do keep the bugs in.
Okay.
Sorry, not the bugs, but the fishes, at least in like buckets or bags of water and things like that, or fish tanks.
Oh, okay. And they just put those buckets and bags of water in your pants.
That's the thing. It's a storage space issue, I think. I think it's really, and this goes into a different storage space issue where your house has incredible amounts of storage. Like you can in a normal house, you can store 350 silos. Those are places they store grain. They're very large. They're like at least 2 stories tall. And no problem. Like that's not even an issue. No one bats an eye. So what is it about the storage capacity in this game? Like, what's the technology, or is it maybe, I don't know, innate? I don't know that allows you to do this, to store so much.
Well, I feel like where you put silos in your house. Is that what you said?
You can store them in your house. No, they're not. You cannot place them in your house. I don't think. I haven't tried to do that.
Oh, I see.
But you can store them in your house. So your inventory in your house is.
Large. So things are like minimized or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until you.
It might be.
Place them, like properly place them.
It might be. How do you change the size of something, Jeff? You can't just do that.
You break it. Usually, that's how I do it.
That's okay, but you can't do that with a fish. You can't break a fish in half and have it still be alive. Wait.
Okay, well, with that addendum at the end, that's true.
Are you saying that instead they do break fish apart and they're all just very good surgeons, and then save the fish every time?
As much as I would like to roll with that, I feel like we can find something else. Don't get me wrong, I do love the idea that everyone is just a very good surgeon and can save the life of all of those fishes.
Yeah, everyone is Ben Carson.
I just do not know how likely it would be. That being said, I don't know how else it would minimize a thing.
This is Jeff. In a world of aliens, I don't know how available med school would be and how good everyone would be at surgery.
Right.
Sorry, would you say you don't believe? You don't have an answer for me. You're letting me down. You were
No, that's what I always do. I was just talking in circles until you gave me something that I could
you were three
refine.
for three, Jeff, and now
You failed me.
you're 3 for 4, garbage man. There you go, Jeff.
Yep.
I got the first
Three
letter of
for
your name
four
right.
garbage, man. That's what they call me.
Yeah, so you've got to. I've always liked. I've always
That everyone in the planet is a surgeon and very good at saving
no,
fishes.
no. I had to think of the movie. It was Marvel's Ant-Man. I always liked their explanation for changing size.
Okay.
They do kind of betray it, and it's a dirty lie, but they kind of allude to the idea that you're not really changing the mass of a object, but instead what you're doing is you're just rapidly increasing the density by decreasing the distance between the atoms and the intermolecular components of an atom.
Right.
Now, quantum mechanics...
That works fine. Yeah.
Yeah, quantum mechanics would say that that's kind of bull, but maybe...
I'm not sure if I buy that quantum mechanic nonsense.
Maybe what you could do, if you could change the charge and the mass of a proton, you could then change atomic radii, and then by changing atomic radii, you're changing electronic radii, and then by that, bonding lengths and things like that. So maybe they have like a not a quantum mechanic free area, but maybe they have an area that doesn't obey our rules of quantum mechanics, and instead,
Right, and that area is
their pockets.
Pants.
Is any pants. I just kind of zoned out and talked for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was waiting for an opening to say that it is pants that
There's pants that
don't obey physics.
But it seems like that seems to be the best idea. And I mean, if we're following the atomic nucleus orbital theory, which says that neutrons and protons form orbitals much like electrons in the nucleus, maybe what you could do is adjust you have to adjust what's called the Boltzmann constant, which is the minimum amount of energy that something can hold. It's the quanta in quantum dynamics or quantum mechanics,
which, as we all know, is controlled by belts.
Which, as we all know, is controlled by belts because belts hold up pants.
Right.
No, I got you. That was a good joke, Jeff. I would be laughing, but I'm like deep in my quantum mechanic brain right now. So
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to bring it back for all the listeners.
It's fine. I've reached an area where we're up against the Boltzmann constant, and the Boltzmann constant it's pretty constant.
It's belts for listeners.
I mean, it's so constant that we have defined pretty much every unit of energy by the Boltzmann constant.
I mean, that's the general idea of constants, no?
I mean, you say that, but like the only true constant is the Lorentz invariance, which says that light moves.
That's why I said the general idea.
Yeah. Haha! That was actually a pretty good joke because it's general relativity versus special relativity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
I missed that.
God, keep up, man.
Yeah. So something like that has to happen. Maybe they have pocket universes. They're
just very literal pocket universes.
They have literal pocket universes. I mean, yeah, because this is an old, highly advanced civilization. They're getting back to their roots, but they don't want to abandon the niceties of the world.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
So it's just like, it's a post-scarcity world where they exist on 6 fruit and keeping fishes in pocket dimensions in their pants.
Exactly. Well, no, they keep fish in bags of water or fish tanks or buckets of water or like small swimming pools of water if it's an oarfish. And that is in their pocket dimension. So their pocket dimension is like a dimension of shelves.
Right.
Which I say, you know what? Go for it. So the last thing I could think of for this, and we're going to go through one last thing because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to cut out 10 minutes of me listing fruit in this episode.
Okay, so is this 2 more things or one last thing?
This is one last thing that I came up with. You can come up, I don't know, maybe you have something else that I don't have. I doubt it.
I have watched Animal Crossing played 2 times.
I just came up with something else while I was sitting here thinking. So
Okay,
maybe
go on.
we'll talk about it. But the first one is, so the water. This is maybe a thing for me, maybe not so much for you, because I'm an engineer. The thing is that ponds.
Can you like pour any more self-importance into how you said that?
I had to, because I'm an engineer. I had to pour self-importance into it. God, I hate engineers. I mean, we're fine, but like, I really hate a lot of engineers just because they're just
like any good profession.
Like, yeah, you just
everyone's self-loathing of the profession.
Yeah, you just kind of look at other engineers and you're like, you really don't know that much. And I know how much you know, and it's really not that much because I don't know that much.
Because you know the same amount.
Well, yeah, for some, I mean, I'm sure there's engineers who know more than me, but it's very specific. It's kind of like Ben Carson believing that he could be a politician. Stay in your lane, dude. You're not a politician. I think this is like the 4th or 5th time that I've ragged on Ben Carson. He's just low-hanging fruit, okay? Anyway, the ponds on this island, so the water table here is very weird. It seems like these are seas, so they're salt water. And it does rain, but there's still ponds that are freshly replenished by springs. Now, if you know anything about springs, they have to be fed by a higher elevation. So you won't get a spring coming out of the ocean. No, necessarily. Right. Like, it's possible, but it does exist, but it's in a very weird specific setting, and definitely not one that will bubble up to the surface. That doesn't happen.
So how far apart are all these islands necessarily? Or maybe it's just like they are all connected.
You know what?
To like something.
I would like to bring back
to Earth.
Sorry.
They're not just free floating islands, clearly.
They are connected to Earth. We don't know how deep the sea is. That's true. However, you can see islands, you can see like mountains in the background. And I'm going to use my good old-fashioned engineer brain and Google, and I'm not going to open RetroArch, which I seem to open every single time I am podcasting. So the sight line of a human, so the horizon line of a human, that's what I want. I believe is a mile.
Sure, I'll go with it.
But that makes me think that's
I can't
small.
Google anything quietly right now.
That's what it is. It's 2.9 miles. So you can see 3 miles if you're say a 5 foot tall, 7-inch human. I'm assuming these things look smaller than normal humans. I'm gonna go 4 feet tall and then the size of Mario. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they see significantly under 7 miles. Or sorry, not 7 miles.
Yeah,
3 miles.
2.9 miles, I think you said.
My world is so dark. So those mountains have to be 3 miles away. So we know that there's at least 3 miles between these islands. So that gives us at least some clue as to how far an aquifer would have to be to supply water to your island from a mountain, which is not a huge aquifer, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this one actually is in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How often you tell me about getting paid to put water into deserts.
Yes. This actually is in my wheelhouse. Amazingly, I finally found an episode where I can make a connection to water. So like a 3 miles isn't that big. The issue being is that that's 3 miles underneath an ocean. So do we think that I have an idea? And this is a little crazy. I think that this planet, it has a molten core. Okay, we know that because it's not a radiator.
A molten water core.
Not water. I think it's molten nickel because it has to generate a magnetic field. And if anyone cares, nickel is what creates the magnetic field, or the poles technically, around Earth. It's actually really cool. Because like the direction it spins in as it like cools is what creates the magnetic field around Earth. But so I think that's one thing. I think that there is a global aquifer, right? That is supplying all of these islands with this kind of pressurized heated water, and it cools as it reaches the surface, obviously, but it's the getting close to the Earth's core that allows it to expand. And here's the crazy thing: when you heat up. Oh wait, no, I was thinking the opposite direction. Never mind. But I still think that it's like a global freshwater aquifer that's fed as water diffuses through, as salt water diffuses through like a clay boundary. And that is why you get such homogenization of fish, because maybe these fish are living within the aquifer underground, and they're only surfacing at certain times of the year as as like seasons change, temperatures change, pressures change. They find the best breeding time for their species. Or feeding time.
Yeah, that makes enough sense. I can buy that.
And that explains why there's such homogenization across the world for these fish. And it explains why there's fresh water bubbling up on every island.
Well, there you go.
See, guys,
you got it.
Anyone who's like listening to our podcast is like, these guys don't have any brain. Listen, I do have a brain. I'm just very bad at a lot of science.
Every now and then, Simon will tune out and start talking and say things that are relatively make sense.
Next one, animalese. This is the thing that Claire brought up, which is why do they talk in these kind of like beep 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 sounds?
Because those are the noises their mouths make.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're handling. So we think that sapiens was able to create intelligence, and it was able to create humanoid, as we see it, creatures, but it wasn't able to change vocal cords. And so, like BBBs or animalese,
or maybe that was just part of the kind of guided evolution for all the different species, is to be able to make the same like mouth noises.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much, because you would think about this didn't occur to me, but you would think that humans, this is a very human-centric, I had a very human-centric idea of what we were talking about.
Right.
But
you have to expand your horizons.
Yeah, maybe like they looked across all the species that were being sapienized, and I'm just inventing great words today. And
that were being made sapient.
Well, I like sapienized more.
Yeah, I know you like making up verbs.
And that has enabled them, and so they went. What's the simplest convergent language?
Yeah, like what is the common mouth noises that these things can possibly make?
So here's the question. So we think that this was aliens that made this, right?
Sure.
That were the selective, because you need to have an agent that does the selective breeding, right?
Yeah, no, it'd be the aliens.
We think it's the aliens. Okay, cool, good. I was worried that we were gonna have to answer who was the first creature in.
Oh yeah, the aliens.
Yeah, it was the aliens. And I mean, they had normal evolution. They have a completely scientifically functional and correct society that doesn't make any wild accusations about how things work.
Right.
And there you go. We solved the alien problem.
Got it.
I think that's it.
Yep.
We did a good job.
We got Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff is 3 for 4, or 3 for like 8, but it's good. I mean, Jeff would be nowhere without me. He would be just like, if Jeff was doing this podcast alone.
It would just be me sitting next to a microphone quietly thinking.
Yes. You wouldn't have any fun anecdotes. You wouldn't have anyone who zones out and doesn't realize they've been rambling for 2 hours.
Have any weird made-up verbs.
Yeah, sapienized, and the other one I made up that I don't remember.
De-winded?
De-winded. No, there was a different one. There was one that was in between sapienized and de-winded. That was a good verb.
Yeah. I do not think it was a good verb.
Think it was. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a very good verb. I think it really explained what was going on.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for listening, listener. You did your job perfectly.
We enjoyed you.
Listener gets 8 out of 8.
Because they were probably quicker on the draw than us for everything.
They also, their job is to listen, and they listened. They deserve a gold star. Good job.
We're proud of you.
We're very proud of you. You deserve a high five that I can't give you, But just imagine me giving you a high five. Did you feel it? It's nice and warm.
It's a nice, warm, lingering high five.
Everyone stream it. Nice, warm, moist, lingering high five with eye contact.
Yeah, the entire time.
All right. Yeah, you can.
All right, what do we got? We need to
do our sign off.
Do we have a sign off yet? We do, but we have a call to action first. First.
Our call to action is you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, some other podcasting apps that I forget about.
All of them but one, I think.
All of them except for Podbean, because they require too much work, and this isn't our job, okay, guys? So, sorry. We're on YouTube, too. Or some of us are on YouTube. Some of our episodes
sometimes on YouTube. We're on the internet at pedantichandwavium.com.
We're on Twitter
at
pedantichandwavium.com.
Yes, and you can give us show suggestions.
I wanted to include Twitter in that show suggestions thing too.
Yep. Nope. It makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can shout at us on Twitter. You can call us bigots or whatever. But just make sure you like us and retweet us when we announce our episodes.
Yeah, it's great. Is there anything else? Joe Sopchak?
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Joe Sopchak. You let us play music that you made.
Yeah, that you made.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really nice. I think that's really it. I don't think we have any other call to actions.
Yep. Nope. I think that was it. So now we have the sign off, which I think was good night, listeners. We love you.
Yeah, we love you.